everybody, I'm Katie. I'm the Behavior and Training Lead at the Animal Humane Society. With the nice summer weather, we're all looking to get outside a little bit more, so I've got some walking tips for you and your dog today. One of the most frustrating things for a lot of folks coming in our doors is getting their dog to walk on a leash with a lot of distractions happening. That's where using something that can motivate your dog to stay near you and teaching them the expectations. So our dogs are going to be dogs until we tell them what the rules are. Leashes are a very human thing. It's a very foreign thing to our dogs, and they need to learn what that's all about. So that's usually where we start. What we try and work on is teaching the dog that the space right immediately next to their handler is the best place to be. So using rewards like small bits of hot dog, peanut butter on a spoon, something that's really motivating to the dog to help motivate them to stay close to the handler. Using a handful of treats like a magnet on the nose too can be very helpful. The positive reinforcement, the rewards, the praise, the pets, if that's something they enjoy, is super important to continue, because if that stops, they don't know that they're doing it right and they're going to decide to do something else to see if they can get it right. So it kind of breaks down the learning process. But in reward-based training, it's important to fade out those, especially food rewards, because going to a random reinforcement, every other sit or every couple of steps, fading out the food actually strengthens behavior. So that's a really important part of the process. But it's important that they always get wonderful feedback from us. If you've got a particularly challenging dog, some great tools to use would be a gentle leader or a freedom no-pull harness. I like to use those for dogs that are particularly bouncy. They go from 0 to 60 in half a second, like some of our terrier breeds do. So those are great tools. I like to share with people that dogs and humans have a reflex to pull into pressure. So when the dog is pulling on their leash, they have pressure on the front of their neck or the front of their harness, and they have this reflex to pull into it. So you're kind of working against that reflex, which not a lot of people know about. So that's where using the freedom no-pull harness, the gentle leader, that can kind of take that out of the equation. But when your dog pulls out on the leash, feeling that pressure is a cue for you to stop and wait for them to come back to you, or pat your leg and encourage them to come back to you before you move forward. If you've got a dog that is dog reactive, so they start barking and lunging at dogs or even people at quite a distance, what they're saying is they're uncomfortable and they need space. So the best thing to do is to go around a corner, use a parked car, if it's safe to do so, to create a visual barrier to decrease that stress and give the dog space. As much as possible, I want to watch the dog for making the right choice on their own and be ready to pay it. We find that the learning is much more permanent, it's faster when the dog is making the choices on their own, and it tends to create a dog that is a problem solver and willing to try things. So as much as possible, I watch for the dog to be making the right choices. If I have to set that up, which we do when the dogs are first learning, it's that reinforcement history. If the dog is being rewarded over and over and over for the, walking on a leash close by the handler, that's what they're going to offer to do more often because it pays. Dogs do what works. Sniffing is a really, really good activity that helps release anxiety and is a good mental workout for your dog. So you may want to choose some times where your dog gets to take you for a walk and you just follow wherever they want to sniff, as long as it's safe to do that. In conclusion, remember those rewards are super important in the beginning when your dog is first learning something new. You want to set them up for success. Minimize the distractions as much as possible in the beginning to help them be successful. And remember, if you go out in public, remember where they're at in their learning. If you're interested in going further in your dog's training, all of our information is available online at animalhumanesociety.org/training. prices, schedules, everything is online. You can even register online. You can also call our free behavior helpline at 763-489-2217.